Hello, and thank you for tuning into the Stuff I Heard podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Peak, and we're getting into late October. This is the weekend before Halloween, so there's a lot of places around here that are doing like Halloween type things. And I don't remember when I was younger Halloween being something that people could kind of pick and choose when they do things. I know calendar wise, Halloween is supposed to fall on next Friday. Now, here locally in Florence, South Carolina, we've got a lot of events that are happening with churches doing like trunk or treat type things. And I don't know if that's because they're trying to do something before the holiday, knowing that come holiday they may be busy or they may be out of town or something like that. Or they don't want to wait for the weekend when it's already November and they feel like, oh, we've already missed the holiday. So why aren't we doing it afterwards? Because that's kind of silly. Um, I don't know when Halloween changed to where people were doing things not on the day. I know that through the years, we've often questioned of, oh, it falls on like a Wednesday. Do we expect trick or treaters on a Wednesday? I mean, our kids are grown, so it's not like we're like, when we got a plan to take them out. They grew out of that a long time ago. All of our kids are around 30 or older. So, it's one of those things where I'm like trying to question of what to do, especially with our grandkids. Luckily, they have parents to figure that out, and it's just our job to buy candy and hand it out and go, "Oh, look how cute," that kind of thing. Um, I always laughed at the movie My Blue Heaven. If anybody's ever seen it, Rick Moranis and Steve Martin. Basically, Steve Martin is a gangster who gets arrested and has the opportunity to um, basically be an informant and rat on somebody. In the process, he gets an alias and he gets put into witness relocation, but of course, it's comedians, so he makes it really silly. And in the process, he breaks up with his girlfriend, and him and Rick Moranis are talking about it. He's supposed to be like an agent, and they discuss, why is it always October? I don't get it. He goes, it's the stress of Halloween. No one knows what to go as. And I always thought that was kind of funny, but also kind of true. I know growing up, I always questioned what should I dress up as for Halloween because I mean I had no idea. My imagination never let me pretend to be somebody else. Um, I guess I was just too concerned over number one, what does it cost to dress up like somebody else? Because I really don't have money to spend on costumes and that sort of thing. And also, why? Why would I bother doing that as an adult? Uh, I missed out on some of that, I guess, growing up. That kind of happens when you grow up early and you have kids early and that sort of thing. You just push forward through the next thing, and it's not about me; it's about them. And I like having the kids dressed up and getting to get them to go out and do trick or treating, and which I thought was cute. Um, but I never thought about it for myself as an adult. I remember one time going and getting like facial stuff to like glue to my face so I looked like a vampire or something. I forget why I did it, but it was like, hey, I can actually do this. And here's a little kit they sell, and I could actually see if it actually worked. And it looked pretty cool for about, an hour or two. Um, and then my wife at the time, my wife, who I'm married to now, we were dating at the time, she showed up dressed up, and I was like, oh, look, time to go. Because she was dressed very nicely for Halloween. But that's a different content for a different show. Anyway, happy Halloween, everybody. Uh, we are in football season. Yesterday, the Carolina Gamecocks lost again, and it's just it's one of those things where you hope that these kids that are getting paid now are being taken care of, um, because they are in a unique position of being children, basically, with a lot of money. And with that comes a lot of pressure because you have boosters. And I heard this conversation yesterday. Again, this is stuff I heard, so take it for what it's worth. I heard conversations happening on Saturday morning football talk with them saying, you got boosters who are paying $10 million to a school who really believe in somebody, pulling off their ability to win a bunch of games. And then when they don't, they go, all right, listen, I'm paying $10 million for a season. I want you to put in somebody. And then they pick and choose what they want to happen instead of letting the coaches or the team sort of grow and gel like some teams need to do. Sometimes you need to lose games. Like Saban was like, was talking about it. He goes, sometimes you lose games, but you learn more from it that makes you stronger later. But now with boosters involved and them paying a whole bunch of money where it's really out of hand, there's not time for that. There's not the flexibility of that. And I worry that that's going to really hurt the game overall. I mean, I remember whenever LSU had the season that came out on Netflix about the NIL deal, there were a lot of people interviewed who said they really feared Texas overall because a lot of alumni from Texas and their boosters from Texas University had a lot of deep pockets. And they're like, there's no way we're going to compete with a Texas when they're out there. And I mean, Archie Manning is having a rough season. This is his first season starting, and they've lost a few games. He's trying to develop into a player of college level, and he's got some big expectations because of his family heritage. But at the end of the day, I mean, right now he's just an okay quarterback. Uh, but I mean, how much money's tied up into that, and how much pressure is the coach under, and how much is that conversation happening with boosters, asking them, "What are you doing? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? You should be doing more." And I mean, that's all valid, I guess, in a way. But also, it kind of hurts the kids. It hurts the kids developing and being able to be kids playing college football. There's so much more pressure on these kids now. I mean, I can't imagine it. But anyway, at the end of the day, it's just entertainment. See, that's the part that people tend to forget. It's just entertainment. It's there to entertain us. It's sport. Um, was it the commercial that's out now? Give it up to Patrick Mahomes. He plays sports. He does sports. I forget who does that commercial, but I thought it was kind of funny. Um, there is a hurricane right now in Jamaica or around Jamaica. It did reach category 5, Hurricane Melissa. We were just in Jamaica. So my thoughts and prayers, of course, are out with all of the families of the people who live in Jamaica. And, um, we definitely came across a lot of really nice people. Jamaica makes a lot of their money from tourism. That's probably their biggest source of income, aside from their coffee and their Mary J. Wana. But with tourism, I mean, part of what you're paying for is that image that you see on people's Instagram and YouTube videos of it being just this perfect beach with this perfect everything. And hurricanes are not perfect, especially category 5s. I've said this before. Category 5s are basically like God putting his arm down on the land and going, all these people gone, just gone, all of this gone, all these buildings gone, all of it just not here. So I'm really worried about Jamaica and about the people of Jamaica and about what's going to happen to them with this hurricane because it's a slow moving thing that's going to linger for a couple of days and they're going to get hammered by wind and rain and storm surge. And it's going to be bad. It's really going to be bad. Um, you know, again, thoughts and prayers are with them. And, if anybody knows anybody down there, please pray for them or I don't even know how to help. I mean, I really don't. It's just Mother Nature. But yeah, let's talk about some things that I've seen. Okay, because this is stuff I heard. I watched a show on Netflix called Boots. Now, for those of you who don't know, Boots is about a kid who joins the Marine Corps in the early '90s. Um, Here, I'll even see if I can find you the synopsis of the show as they've written it, because I don't want to screw it up. Boots on Netflix. It says here in the little blurb, after impulsively joining the U.S. Marine Corps, a bullied teen finds new purpose and unexpected brotherhood with his motley team of fellow recruits. Um, the main character is Miles. His real name is Miles Heiser, Heizer. Heiser. He goes by the name of Cameron. I can't read his name. Cameron Cope in the show. Cameron Cope. Anyway, I was in the Marine Corps in boot camp on Paris Island. I joined December 19th, 1994. So this would have been after his time. Okay. And I liked the show. I mean, the premise is the kid who joins is actually gay, and he joins with his best friend on the buddy program. Now, they had the buddy program when I started, and I was supposed to join with a guy named Brian. And Brian and I didn't want to join the Marine Corps. Like my conversations with him before that were, I knew some friends that had joined. The guy named Steven that I went to high school with had joined, and I'd seen him afterwards. And he looked like a robot, and I was like, I don't want to end up like that. Like I felt like I was more in tuned with my artistic side, and I didn't want to lose that part of me. Um, and I thought that, hey, if I join the army, it's something that's kind of safe because there's a whole lot of people in the army, and I could just find a job and find out what I'm meant to do in life and sort of start my career that way instead of being in college. Because I tried college a few different ways and nothing really perked my interest. You're just supposed to know what to do and do it. And I couldn't make a decision on what I wanted to do. Nothing really entertained me enough to go, that's it. That's the thing I want. So I was certain on joining the army, and I worked with Brian and we were friends. And Brian was like, listen, I've talked to this other recruiters, and you need to talk to each of them. And I was like, okay. So I went and I talked to the Navy guy, and he was really, 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 really old, and he wore white. And I thought, nope, me and this guy are not connecting, and I definitely don't want to wear white because I get dirty very easily. I'm naturally someone who gets dirty. Not that I seek it; it just happens. Um, but I also thought about the fact that the Navy deals in submarines, and you never see a good movie about a submarine. It's always like the submarine gets a leak, and all of a sudden they're going down, and some guy's running towards a portal and they're closing it off and like, sorry, Jimmy. And they're like, closing the hatch to save everybody from imploding. And I was like, that's just terrifying. I don't want to be part of that. Um, so I didn't want to do Navy. Air Force, nothing about the Air Force entertained me. Nothing about that seemed like, yeah, that's for me. I've never been a person who enjoyed flying. I didn't see myself being around planes or having a career that had anything to do with planes. And to me, the Air Force was all about planes. Um, I mean, I like the fact that the people designed metal to fly and that they conveniently get us from point A to point B pretty safely most of the time. There's still that option of, hey, things can go really wrong in the sky and then you fall down, and that doesn't end well. So I was like, all right, we'll talk to this guy. Talked to him, wasn't really impressed. Went over and talked to the Marine recruiter, and he impressed me. Number one, he didn't try to recruit me. He just talked to me like a human. And I noticed really quickly, but talking to the Army guy and then talking to the Marine Corps guy, the Army guy was like trying to sell me anything. Like he was like a used car salesman. Just everything's positive and, oh yeah, buddy, we can do that for you. Yeah, yeah, just sign right here. And I was like, okay, it's kind of weird. And the Marine Corps guy really tried to dissuade me from joining the Marine Corps. He was like, I don't know, man. This ain't for you. It may not be. Um, but I decided to join the Marine Corps with Brian. We signed up on the buddy program, and I thought, okay, well, at least I'll know somebody while I'm going through this. So we both went through MEPS together. That's where they measure you and make sure that you're physically fit enough to do the thing. And then we went to ship off, where they basically had us spend the night in a hotel. And the next morning, we were getting on a bus and we were going to arrive at Paris Island. So I do all that, get to Paris Island, get my head shaved, get my shots and my clothes, and I put my clothes up into a Ziploc bag. And the whole time I'm looking around, I'm going, where the hell's Brian at? I don't see Brian anywhere. Well, Brian decided at the hotel, maybe this ain't for me. And he went home. I didn't know that was an option. So I joined. Uh, and a lot of the stuff in this show, Boots, reminded me of boot camp, especially certain scenes, like after he gets his hair cut and he's standing in that little breezeway in line, and there's like a red light coming through the glass window. And I was like, I remember that. I remember that exactly. I remember the footsteps. I remember the drill instructors yelling at you. I remember so much of what they did in the show, but also the show is unrealistic in a lot of ways. Number one, there's a lot more chit chat in the show than there is in reality. Okay. we didn't have conversations like they do in this show because they're trying to make a show for Netflix. There's a lot of discussion, there's a lot of talk. We didn't talk. There was a lot of us hustling all the time. And when we weren't hustling, they were making us hustle to do something else. Either they were working us out, they were getting us to fall in line, they were teaching us knowledge, they were making us physically do things. There's a lot to what is real and what isn't real in this show. I thought it was weirdly accurate when it comes to the gas chamber. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought the scenes about going to swim qual was completely fake because we weren't there that long. And yet they make it seem like swim qual was a big thing that took place for a very long time, and it wasn't. But also, like, I had no problem swimming, so I don't really remember being in the pool that much. I remember jumping off of a high dive with full gear on. I remember them teaching us how to use our uniform to float. I remember them teaching us how to pack a pack so that our pack floats. Um, I remember doing laps in the pool in full gear and utes and everything. Um, but I don't remember being there for like a day or two. And yet the show makes it look like they're there for like weeks. Now, boot camp for Marine Corps is 13 weeks at Parris Island and at San Diego. It's only two places where they do it. Um, again, way too much chit chat. Uniforms didn't look like they looked for us. For us, we only had green on green. You had an olive green skivvy shorts, an olive green shirt. Um, these guys are wearing red and yellow, and I mean, it looks good on screen. Parts of it, they're wearing like a green shirt with white shorts. And I'm like, where do you get the white shorts from? Um, I don't know. There's a lot that's not accurate to anything that we went through. I did think that the drill instructors in the show did a great job of portraying them. Um, the commanding officer, the lieutenant who's over the group, I think she did a great job. Um, there's parts of the rifle range that were pretty accurate, parts that weren't. But anybody who's been to the Marine Corps, if you watch the show, I'd like to know what you think as well. Um, yeah, to my mom, if my mom watches the show, you can watch it. I mean, there's some language, but also it's realistic. And of course, there's a shower scene where all the dudes are butt naked going one by one into the shower. I remember that being kind of shocking right off the bat when they were like, all right, shower time. And you get in a line, and the first person walks and they turn on the water and they got a bar of soap and you squirm around and you go on to the next thing. And it's like showers in a row around a room. And basically, he just goes around and turns on every shower as he walks around. It's all cold water. We didn't get hot water shower until the third phase towards the end. It was cold showers for, let's see, if we were there 13 weeks, it's probably cold showers for 12 weeks or 11 weeks, something like that. But yeah, they would turn on showers. You walk in a row, you squirm around, try to get clean. You hit the hot spots, and then the last person in line turns off the shower on the way out, and you're not there for very long. And to me, they showed the shower scene a little too long of them just hanging around. I was like, no, we didn't do that. Um, but we did find ways to entertain ourselves, which were unusual, and some of that's in there too. So anyway, to anybody watching the show, just understand it is a show. It is not accurate to boot camp. They show like third phase very briefly. They talk about the crucible, which is weird because this is supposed to be early 90s and they didn't start the crucible until 99. So that part's unrealistic. The the land nav course was actually pretty good, but they didn't really show enough of it, I don't think. And they didn't spend a lot of time in third phase. They didn't talk about them moving to different barracks. Um, they did do a couple of things with like certain what do you call it? Certain platoons messing with other platoons with little things to just antagonize each other or to compete with each other. And they should have showed more of that too. The pugil stick stuff was pretty good. They didn't show the boxing stuff as much as I thought they would. They did show a bit of the hand to hand combat stuff, which I thought was pretty accurate. Um, but yeah, it's a show. So For those of you out there who are thinking about joining the Marine Corps and you watch this, it's not accurate. But there are parts that are. So anyway, just figured I'd talk about that show. Um, I also watched Gen V, the second season. Gen V, for people who don't know, is based off of the comic book. It's a dark series called The Boys. Gen V is supposed to be these kids that are in college, um, or high school. I don't know which one it is. I think it's college. Yeah, it's college. Um, and they have superpowers because they've been given this V that gives them superpowers. And of course, they're very flawed because they're college kids. But they're in real life and death situations oftentimes, and that's where the show takes you. And it's entertaining. I think I liked season one better. Season two was okay. It was okay. Um, but it leads itself into some of the characters from there joining the show, The Boys. The Boys, of course, is like the graduate version of real life superheroes that are not necessarily altruistic. They're not good people all the time, especially with the main one being Homelander. So anyway, it's going to lead itself up to something bigger, and I'm sure that that'll have like a big finale, tied in with that too. Um, but yeah, that's it. Um, if anybody's planning on going to Myrtle Beach next weekend, I am going to the Jeep Jam. Jeep Jam is an event that's held where Coastal Grand Mall used to be. It's a cleared lot that they convert every year to where they have an obstacle course for an easy track and also a harder track. It kind of splits off into two separate tracks. And then they also have a mud pit, which is like a pit they dig in the sand with excavators. And they have stands up there if you want to watch people go through the mud pit, which is pretty entertaining. I have signed up this year to do the obstacle course, and I'm looking forward to doing it with my Jeep. So I got to make sure I pack stuff like I need for to air down the tires and air them back up. And of course, bring clothes. It's going to be colder. Temperatures are dropping around here. I think the weekend I'm there, the highs are going to be in the 60s. So definitely need to dress for the temperature and should be fun. If anybody plans on going out there, I'll see you there. So should be a lot of fun. All right. That's it. I'm going to wrap this up. If you got any Halloween movies that you recommend, let me know. I'm looking for something entertaining to watch, nothing too scary. Um, I get kind of freaked out at scary stuff, but I do want to watch something that's kind of Halloween themed. We watched Casper last night, which is cute, with my grandson. So anyway, that's it. I'm gonna wrap this up. Please remember to rate, review, subscribe, share this with your friends, and as always, cue the cow.
Cue the cow. Moo, baby.